Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Today we'll be talking about how to handle word problems. So, what are we going over? We'll be talking about the three-step approach. We'll be doing questions that have diagrams, tables, and we'll also discuss translations. Word problems are an essential part of so many tests such as SAT, ACT, etc. And that's why it's really important to understand and dissect to solve the problem so that you can score higher. And that's why I came up with the three-step approach, RTS. RTS stands for Read, Translate, and Solve. Number one, read. You want to fully read the question to understand what's it asking for. What are we solving for? Just fully comprehend what is the question. Then, number two is translate. Essentially, you want to translate the problem from English or from words to math. You can do that by simply turning it into an equation, but it's really useful if you draw a diagram or a table to help you along. And finally, when you simplify down the question, then you solve it. So let's try an example with diagrams first. So our question is, a man walks from his home 3 miles straight towards east. He then walks another 2 miles north and finally walks 3 miles west. How far is he from his home? Now, you could do this mentally, or you could try to write the math, adding and subtracting, and just confuse yourself. Or you could simply use a diagram to help you guide the question. So let's start with a man walking from his home 3 miles straight towards east. So that's his home, and he's going 3 miles straight towards east. Then he walks 2 miles north. So that would be that direction and 2 miles. And finally, he walks 3 miles west, which would be that direction and 3 miles. And now we have to find how far is he from home. And with this diagram, it's so easy. You can clearly see that he is simply 2 miles south from home. So diagrams are really important to understand word problems, and it just helps you to solve it. Now, tables are also a great help to solve word problems. Now let's try a couple of questions. So our first question is, 3 more than 4 times the number is equal to 10. What is the number? Now, that is a confusing statement, and it can happen that even after you try to fully read it and understand it, it still remains confusing. So in this case, it would be great if you could divide it into a table for what it's asking. Now what we're solving for is the number. So let's put this in the table. So we divided that as 3 more than, that's one part, 4 times a number is equal to 10. Now we read this problem, and now we want to translate it into math. To do that, that's going to be 3 more than. That's essentially saying 3 plus. We're adding 3. Then 4 times. Times here means to multiply. So 4 times a number. A number can be any variable that you want to take. In this case, I took x. Is equal to. Equals to is just the equal sign, and then 10. So when we translate it into the math form, we have 3 plus 4x, you're multiplying 4 in a number, is equal to 10. And from there, you simply have to solve it. So this is our final equation. Now I want to find x, and for that you're going to isolate it. So for that you're going to subtract 3 from both sides. With that you get 4x is equal to 7, and I still want x to be alone, so we're going to divide 4 from both sides, and the final answer is x is equal to 1.75. Now, using the table, it made it much clearer what the question was asking for and what was the question. If you read it, it sounds so confusing, but if you put it in a table form, it makes it less complicated. Let's try a slightly harder question. So, the question is, the sum of two numbers is 25. 9 times the smallest number is 5 more than twice the largest number. Find both numbers. Now this one is a little more tricky. It has something that's given to us. We have to find two numbers. So let's start with what's given to us. We have given that sum of two numbers is 25. So we can say, let's say x is one of the numbers, and so the other number is going to be 25 minus x. Now let's bring our RTS table and divide what we're solving for. So 9 times the smallest number is one part. Is basically translates to equals to 5 more than twice the largest number. So in this case, let's take x as the smallest number and 25 minus x as the larger number. So 9 times the smallest number is 9 times x is equal to 5 more than would be 5 plus, we're adding 5, twice the largest number, which is 2 times 25 minus x. Now, once again, we have an equation and we can solve for x. So our equation comes to 9x is equal to 5 plus 2 times 25 minus x. Now, I need to solve x, and for that, I'm going to first have to multiply the 2 with the 25 minus x. We need to get rid of the brackets or the parentheses. So let's do that. So when you multiply 2 with 25 minus x, you get 50 minus 2x. Now our equation is 9x is equal to 5 plus 50 minus 2x. Now, once again, I want to isolate the x, so we're going to add 2x on both sides. So we're going to add it here and here, and that gets us 11x is equal to 55. How to get the 55? That's simply 5 plus 50. And now, just to solve for x, we're just going to divide 11 from both sides. And you get x is equal to 5. But that's not the final answer. That is one of the answers. X, we said, was the smallest number. But we also have to find the biggest number, the larger number. And the large number we simply said was 25 minus x. And now since we have x, we can plug that back in. And so the larger number is 20. So we found both the numbers, there were 5 and 20. And we used the table to help us break down the question and figure out what we're trying to find. Now, if you would like to go more in depth with this translation, check the description box below for a link that will take you to a page that I've written that has almost all the translations in math. It describes what does to increase mean, what is more than, what is sum. In all these translations, it'll translate it from English to math for you. And I definitely recommend to check it out because it is a lifesaver and it'll help you solve the hardest word problems. So a summary of what we went over the three-step approach, RTS. We did a couple questions with diagrams and tables. And for translations, once again, please check out the link below because it is extremely helpful. Thanks for watching this lesson. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, Algebra Star, or visit algebrastar.com. Once again, thanks.